Good morning. When you go to start your dentistry day, you'll see this is our new regulator on our nitrogen tank. All you need to do is turn the line for tank pressure on. Your inline pressure and this bar you should never have to mess with. The only thing you're doing every morning is this big handle and is to turn on our tank pressure. And this will be your indication of when you're ordering or need to order nitrogen. I'd say when you get somewhere just above 500, I would get a tank in here before too long, because 2 or 3 days of dentistry sometimes can run up about 500. Then in here, I'll introduce you to your new dental unit. We have this all plumbed over to that said nitrogen tank, and you have a fancy little arm here that when we're ready to rock and roll for the day, will pull out nicely to your height preference. Something like that will probably work just fine. We now have a fancy new pedal with 2 little foot buttons. Oh, there he is. This one will be for all of your functions of your high speed and low speed drills, and this little guy on top will be for the function of your scaler. These guys are also kind of preset to where you don't have to mess with anything. When the toggle is to the left here in the center, that is selecting the handpiece to the left, and when we depress the foot pedal, we will run just like so, and you will see the PSI or the line pressure running for that drill. Right now it's about 25, which should be about perfect or adequate without giving too much pressure there, RPMs or temperature to the tooth. So I would leave it right where it's at, and then when we want to select our high-speed drill, we will toggle that toggle towards that high-speed pen piece. Then when he's up, same thing, we depress the foot pedal. Now we have our water and air, and we're running at about 35 PSI. That should be adequate. You never want to press very hard with that drill. Modified pen grasp, something like so, and delicate pressure. If you do have to put more pressure than needed with this pressure, that means it's probably time for a new burr, and otherwise you will destroy your handpiece. High speed, or excuse me, 3-way syringe. We have our air, water and air. Our scalar intensity, this is also known as a potentiometer. Usually this is pretty much all the way up with your universal scalar tips, which we'll talk more about when they show up, when we get them here in the practice. When you do anything subgingivally, you can tone that potentiometer down or scalar intensity down, and then especially gross calculus above the gum line, you can have that intensity quite a bit up as well. Over here on the side of the unit, if I move the scalar out of the way, we have our scalar water regulator pressure for the scalar and the drill. The scalar you can tune in once you're using it, but you do want a good mist and a drip coming from that scalar at high intensities. It's designed to cool down that scalar as well as irrigate things, and the same thing goes with your drill. You always want a good amount of water coming through, especially now you also have a light source going through that head, so a good adequate water, making sure things stay nice and cool, will be beautiful. When you are finished with the unit, sorry, this is also your main water disconnect. If you do not want water for anything, it's quick and easy just to shut the water off. However, there's very little indication of when you'd want to run any of these units without water, unless you're getting into some fancy endodontic stuff, but then we can talk more about that when we get there. When you're done with the unit, you can easily fold him back up to his position against the wall, make him look handsome, and bring your pedal to a safe distance. And then the only thing you have to do for the day to finish would be to obviously clean your hand pieces, run back over to your nitrogen tank and shut him off, top handle, and then run the nitrogen pressure out of your lines. Not necessary, but you can if you want to leave them pressureless. And that's it. Godspeed, and do lots of fun dentistry.